What's up, y'all? I'm out here on the range on a bright sunny day. Temperature's not bad at all, low mid 80s, but this sun is really hot out here and my shade tree hadn't had time to get in the right position yet, or the sun hadn't gotten the right position for my shade tree to work yet, I should say. But I've got my easy up standing in for another hour or so I can get one more test done out there at a distance. I've done one in 9mm already, and this one right here is another 300 Blackout. So I still got the jelly contraption split in half with the radar and the bench down here, and down there at 28 yards again are the gel blocks. I've got them flipped around for you after that 9mm test, so we got plenty of room up here in this front block. We did have one of them sneak into this one just a little bit, but I don't think that's going to give us any kind of problem. Heavy clothing barrier, of course, with a layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. And I'm going to mention the test distance thing again because I still hadn't quite decided whether to stay out here at 28 yards like this or bring it in closer to 10 or 12 yards. This 300 Blackout is probably fine either way, but still I started to do this test at 10 or 12 yards just to see what it would be for defensive purposes with the shorter barrel. But since I was doing the 9mm and I wanted to keep it at 28, I just left this one out there for now. So back down here on this end, we got a couple of different 300 Blackout weights. Both of these were sent to me by Ray again, so I really appreciate that. We got the 125 grainer and the 150 grainer. Now I've tested the 110 in this and it did a really nice job out of this 8.5 that I'm using today, and I used a 16 for it. I'm just using one today because I want to test both of these different weights. I'll probably come back and use a 16 with this 125 against something else I've got in mind. But based on what that 110 did, I'm expecting some good stuff from these. Even out of this 8.5, I expect we're going to stay above 2,000 probably just a little bit. This 125 is saying 2175 feet per second. This 150 is saying 1900. We're probably going to dip even a little bit lower than that on the 150 just because we've got a shorter barrel. Here's a look at your cartridge here, brass case with that black polymer tip on it. Now I think the general consensus is that these are probably SST and not VMAX. They are not fragmenting big time at all like a VMAX would. I think these are going to do the same. I think they're going to give us some fragmentation, but probably largely stay together. And as far as the tester on this one, I'm using an 8.5-inch barrel, PSA upper and lower on this. We've got a 1-in-8 twist on it. So this ought to be another good one. The 125, I have no doubt, is going to do a fantastic job. That's probably my personal preferred weight in 300 Blackout. The 150, even though it's heavy, it's probably going to still do just fine. But let's get everything set up and let's see what they do. All right, let's see what kind of velocities we get from this 8.5-inch barrel. I'm going to do a 5-round average from each of them, starting with this 125 first. That's saying 2175. I don't expect to see it out of this. If you're not familiar with this radar, we're going to get multiple readings, the large numbers right here at your muzzle, and then you got 5 across the bottom. I've got them set for 10 yards, 28 yards, which is where the gel is, 50, 75, and 100. Let's see what happens, y'all. 2175 on the box. Definitely ain't gonna see that. I suspect they probably ran that out of a 10-inch, maybe 16-inch, who knows. Let's see what this gives us. Got 2009, 2002, 1974, 1996, and 1944, so a little bit inconsistent there at the end. Let's see what the average was. All right, that actually wasn't bad. I thought it was spread out further than that. So our 5-round average, we got 1985, so definitely off from the 2175. The high was 2009, we had a low of 1944. So 65 extreme spread and a 26.3 standard deviation. 1985, I mean, it is what it is, but I'm sure we're still gonna get good performance from it. Let's reset it and see what the 150 does. All right, let's see what the 150s do. 1900 on the box, we definitely ain't hitting that based on what we already saw from the 125. Let's see how close we get to it though. $17.76, that's a pretty good one there. $17.70, $17.62, $17.81, and $17.68. So definitely not the 1900. Let's see what that average is. All right, that group right there stayed nice and tight as far as velocity. We had a 5-round average of 1772, so not the 1900, but we'll let it slide since it snuck a 1776 in there. We had an extreme spread of 19 and a standard deviation of 7.3, so really nice and consistent stuff. 1772, that's probably still going to do fine in the gel, but I'm just kind of weird about 150 grain. I mean, it's still supersonic, so why not just use the 125? Maybe I'll change my tune after we see it in the gel, but anyway, 1772 on this, and if you remember on that 125, it was 1985, so you talking about, what's that, 213 feet per second faster with that lighter projectile. That's a good bit of velocity. But that being said, I think both of them's gonna do a nice job in the gel. Let's get it reset, and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's which grain brings the pain jelly time. We'll put one of each into the gel, starting with this 125 first. Again, I think they're both going to do a nice job. I think they're both going into the second block though, so let's see what happens here. All right, I didn't see much movement at all. Let me go see what I got. All right, y'all, not exactly what I expected there for sure, and that's why we didn't see a lot of movement, because didn't get really any expansion or fragmentation. I figured we were going to get more penetration, but we got a whole lot more than that 110. So this 150, I don't have any kind of good hopes for this now. I don't think we're going to get anything out of it either. And I put a towel and a block down there at the end just in case it goes the distance. All right, probably about the same. Let's go check his stuff out. All right, let's check out what we got, y'all. This stuff ain't looking too swift down here from the shorty barrel. I can tell you that right now. It really didn't do anything it was supposed to do. It kind of just stayed together in one piece. So on the top here, that's the 125. Now you can see it comes in here, big old chunk of disruption right there. That's probably some tumbling. It did lose a piece of the jacket right here, a big old piece of the jacket actually, peeled off right here, and then it split and kept going, and then your projectile's way down here. I think y'all can see it back in the back, and then down on the bottom, that's the 150. It's even worse. It comes in here, that's tumbling without a doubt. So I'm sure that right there is tumbling too. Starts tumbling around, yaws down, so gets into the bottom down here, and then from there it just slides across the bottom, and it's actually resting right down there on the bottom, and it's 100% intact. There's nothing missing off that projectile. Now I feel pretty confident saying that if we would not have hit the bottom, it would have went all the way through both of these blocks of gel. But let's see what the penetration is on what we got here. So on the top, the 125, that one is all the way out here to 27 inches. It lost the jacket right here at about 15, 16, but 27 inches of penetration. And I'm telling you, like, there's some pieces missing off the front, like the point, but that's probably mostly jacket. And then this 150, it's down here at 29.5 inches. And I'm just telling you right now, if that would not have gotten down into the bottom end of that board, it would have went all the way through both of these blocks. And here's your close-up, tons and tons of disruption, and this would absolutely put a hurting on whatever was on the receiving end, but it didn't do anything it was supposed to do. Again, on the top, 125, bottom 150. You can see on the 125, it loses that piece of jacket there, and then the projectile keeps going, and you can see it back there in the back. The chunk's missing off the front, but other than that, it's intact. And if we jump back down here to the 150, you can see, boom, it hits the bottom and basically just slides all the way across the bottom. And I think you can see the projectile sitting down there. Absolutely nothing gone from it at all. Pretty much the same story on the top here. As you can see, big bunch of disruption. There's that jacket. If we keep on following it, down there you can see the projectile. Got a chunk missing off the front, but other than that, just a big old hunk of lead. All right, let's check out the projectiles, y'all. Very, very unimpressive stuff right here. And this is just night and day from the X39 I just tested. That stuff did a fantastic job. And even the 110 300 Blackout did a really nice job, even from this shorter barrel out here at 28 yards. So this stuff right here just ain't it as far as I'm concerned for a short barrel at a distance for sure. Now, hunting purposes, yeah, it'd be fine, but you still don't want something that's not going to perform like it's supposed to. Now, I'm sure these numbers that they're giving are not out of an 8.5 inch, so it may perform like it's supposed to out of the right length. But in any case, as you can see here, not much at all going on. This is the 150, nothing happened here, absolutely nothing. This is the 125. Now, we did lose more than I thought we lost. Looks like we lost a good bit of lead here, and I can see some throughout the track. But let's weigh them and see what we got here. The 150, obviously nothing lost right here. We've got 150.4 grains, and then the 125 is actually down to 111.0, so decent little bit of loss on that one there. And then the sizes on them, I mean, it's almost pointless. This is a boat tail, so I'll try to catch this in the middle here. You got a diameter there of 306 and then a length of 1.06. This old jagged 125, I don't even know what to measure on it. And actually, this one's not a boat tail. Look at that there. The 150 is a boat tail, the 125 is not. So let's just get a couple measurements on this. You got 308 down at the base, and then the length on this, what you got left is 601. And there you go, y'all, the Sabre Blade Black Tip 300 Blackout 125 and 150. This is definitely not the way as far as I'm concerned if you got an 8.5 inch barrel out at a distance anyway. Now up closer they might do something, but this is a whole lot of lacking performance right here for me to even consider it up close. I think if you're going with these Sabre Blade Black Tips in a shorty like this, the 110 is definitely the way to go. All right, y'all, that's a wrap for what was unfortunately a pretty disappointing 300 Blackout test. Definitely not the one for me out of this 8.5 inch barrel. If I was going to run a Sabre Blade Black Tip and 300 Blackout, it would be the 110 grain because it actually did expand. I think it got to, you know, somewhere like a few inches into the second block and got some nice expansion. These things right here didn't do anything. Even the 125, I mean, it broke a little chunk off the front, but that's no kind of performance I want to see out of it. If you did enjoy the video, reach down and hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you got those notifications turned on so you get notified when I upload stuff. Check out those affiliate links I've got in the video description. If you're doing some shopping and hit up those links first, anything you buy after that, I get a kickback from them towards the channel, so I really appreciate that. Once again, a big thanks to all my Range Gang members and every single one of y'all for supporting the channel. Couple of interesting tests done out here today and some really good stuff on the way, so stay on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.